Hey guys, so today's lesson is going to include the setup and the teardown of a grinder, okay? So this particular brand of a grinder here is a Metabo brand, okay? A lot of times you'll hear the older style people, they might say, hey John, go get me the Metabo. Or they might say go get me something else. So these are known as Metabos, but that's just actually the brand. All right. So when you buy a Metabo or any type of grinder that you get from the store, usually it's going to come in a box and it's going to come like this. Okay. So what you guys are going to do is you're going to learn how to set this up today. All right. So once you pull it out of the box, you need to start to assemble it. All right. So we're going to stick this down for a second. And when you start to assemble it, there's a specific way that you need to do things, right? This is the most dangerous tool in our weld shop, okay? This wheel here spins at about 10,000 RPMs, all right? So if you use it improperly, bad stuff can happen, okay? So first thing we're going to do, all right, is we're gonna take a look at these two nuts, all right? So if you look at the nut here, it has a flat end on it, okay? And there is no threads at all, okay? This is called your bottom nut, okay? This is what goes on your grinder first, okay? The second one is called your top nut, okay? This has threads on it. This is what holds the grinder wheel, onto your grinder itself. Now, if you look very closely, you can see how there's a raised face on this side and there's not a raised face on this side, okay? The reason that there is a raised face is because of different thickness wheels, okay? We'll get to that when we start to put our wheels on, okay? So first step, once you guys pull this out of the box, is to put our grinder guard on, okay? If you go in any shop, outside of school, chances are you're probably gonna see this not on a grinder, okay? But here's the thing. It's actually a OSHA violation, and I think it's about a $15,000 fine if OSHA walks into your workplace and sees this not on this grinder, okay? Yes, it gets in the way, yes, it's annoying, but they make the grinder guards for a specific reason, okay? So we're gonna take a look real close here, all right? And you'll be able to see in here, there's some raised edges, okay? So those raised edges are actually going to line up with the indents here on the grinder, okay? So when we put this on, we're actually going to put it on at 180 degrees from where it's supposed to be, okay? Normally, this is how your grinding wheel or guard would look, okay? When you put it on, you have to start at 180 degrees, okay? So when you put it on, there is a little notch right here, okay? There's a little notch right here that you're going to pull down, okay? Once you set this up in here, okay, you're going to pull down your little handle, push this in all the way as far as you can get it, okay, still holding your handle down, and then we're going to rotate while you're holding the handle down 180 degrees, okay? Once you get there, you're going to twist a little bit and then lock it in place, okay? Next step, we're going to take our bottom nut and we're going to line up our flat edges on our spindle, okay? So we're gonna take this, we're gonna stick it on our grinder, we're gonna push it on, okay? Make sure that it goes all the way down in. Okay, what this does is keeps the grinder from spinning, and also, when you put your grinding wheel on, it holds the back side of the grinding wheel, okay? So once we have our bottom nut on, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna put our grinding wheel on, okay? So before I go any further, it is very important to know which grinding wheel or flap wheel or cutting wheel you're using. Okay, this is a used wheel, but these wheels start out about 1/4 of an inch, okay? So this is called your grinding wheel. Next one we have, this is a used flap disc, okay? So you use the grinding wheel to take off, heavy metals. You use your flap disc to take off, or to smooth out after you've already taken off, those welds, okay? So this flap disc is not for grinding welds. It's for cleaning up already grinded welds, if that makes sense, okay? So this should not be used to, take the mill scale off of your metal. It should not be used to grind your welds down. This is only designed to polish and smooth out those welds, okay? And then last wheel we have is a cutoff wheel, okay? Now, I want you to look very closely because this is much, much thinner than this 1/4-inch wheel, okay? A lot of people take this and try to use it as a grinding wheel, and what happens is, you know, you start to get some flexion in here, and this will explode, okay? This is one of the main reasons that grinders are so dangerous, because this little wafer wheel, people use it improperly, and then the wheel explodes and goes flying, you know, all around the shop, okay? So let's be aware of what we're using, okay? And then also there's another attachment that we can put on this grinder. This is called a wire wheel, okay? This is called a cup brush, okay? So this is a wire wheel cup brush, all right? And this, we don't have to put our top nut on because it has a threaded end, all right? So now, we're gonna put just our grinder wheel on, okay? So on this bottom nut, there is a raised face. So once you put this grinding wheel on here, make sure that it goes on that raised face, all right? So that's what locks it in place and keeps it from bouncing around all over the place. Now, like I said before, we have a raised face here, so we're going to take the raised face on the grinding wheel since it's thicker, and we're gonna put the raised face down, okay? We're gonna tighten it until this wheel starts to move. Now, in order to tighten this, there's a little button back here, okay? You're going to grab it with one hand, you're gonna push the button in and spin the wheel at the same time until the button locks in place, okay? What this does is it locks the spindle here and allows for you to be able to tighten the wheel, okay? So once you lock it in place, we're going to take what's known as a grinder wrench, okay? This grinder wrench is designed to line up with 2 of these holes to tighten it up, okay? Now, when you tighten it up, there's no need to tighten it as much as you can. All you're going to do is put it in there and just give it a little tug, okay? The wheel does not need to be reached down as hard as you can get it, because remember, this wheel, you know, it's a consumable, so it burns down and eventually you have to change it. So if you can't get the nut off, then you can't change it, okay? Now that we have that on, now depending on what hand you are, right-handed or left-handed, you should always be using a handle, okay? I'm right-handed, so I'm going to take this handle and I'm going to put it on my left side. Okay, if you're left-handed, you can put the handle on the right side. Now, I do recommend, personal preference, that you hold on to the left side even if you are left-handed, because this wheel spins clockwise, okay? If you have your hand right here and you're not wearing gloves, then all them sparks are going to hit your knuckles, okay? If you are wearing gloves, then it's not going to matter because it's going to be bouncing off your gloves, okay? So when you put your handle on, make sure it's nice and tight. That way you have something to hold on, okay? Now, we have, you know, our toggle switch here, okay? So the way that this works is when you turn it on, you push up and in, and it locks it on, okay? To shut it off, you just push this down, okay? Now, a lot of times you'll see a lot of people taking these, once they're done grinding with them, they'll just go ahead and lay them on the table, okay? This is very bad, all right? This, you know, a fast rolling action can occur, okay? What a fast rolling action is, this wheel's still spinning, okay? Say if you pop a breaker, you know, and you forget to shut it off and you set it down and you turn the breaker back on, that wheel is going to start spinning and it's going to roll across the table, and if there's somebody around, it might hit them, okay? So you always take these grinders, flip them completely upside down, or stick them on their side, okay? What I recommend doing is while you're grinding, okay, because we grind north to south, not east to west, okay, and we'll get into that in a later time and why we don't do that. Okay, so once you're finished grinding, all you have to do is shut the switch off, and then you can stop the wheel on your material, okay? And then always put it on its side or on its back, okay? And that's all that we have for this grinder currently. We're going to talk about this a little bit more. Oh, and you always want to make sure that this runs at a high decibel, which means it's very loud. So you should always have ear protection on here, okay? That's all for today.